Ladies and gents, welcome to UX, and this is the B-17. They flew without a cockpit. This version of FlakAlley. Alley? Alley. That's not how you say alley. Is that a name? FlakAlley. I don't know. In the thick of World War II, a B-17 flying fortress. Wait a minute. Isn't this the plane who has like at the time had insane technology about like how they was like internally pressurized and everything? Man, I need to watch a video about that, like how just technical video about this. Severely damaging combat, his entire cockpit section tore away mid-flight. By all logic, the Air Force should have been gone instantly, but somehow he kept flying over 10 minutes. What would happen after? This is the story. What? I mean, so cockpit was destroyed, and somehow, like, when it comes to avionics, that's when you lose pressure. Like, if it's destroyed, like, it's self-flight. Like, how does he have so smooth stability without any input? It just flew straight. Like, how? Okay, it's gonna be an awesome video. Let's watch this one.
It was the 14th of July, 1944, a thunderous evening. Cruising at 25,000 feet, 24-year-old First Lieutenant Ewald Swanson of the 483rd Bomb Group was pilot of a B-17G Flying Fortress, nicknamed Mizpah, its tail number 4232109. Their mission was to strike at the very heart of the Nazi stronghold in Budapest, Hungary. The formation consisted of 60 flying fortresses, and as they entered Hungary, they were bombarded by relentless curtains of thick flak. Explosions erupted all around Mizpah, shredding the tail section and punching holes into the battle-worn wings. Nonetheless, the B-17 formation presses through the initial flak bombardment and heads inbound towards their main target, the Ferencváros railroad yards. This was one of the most heavily defended and strategically vital targets of the late war, critical for the movement of troops, equipment and oil, keeping the German war machine alive. Now, just seconds away from the target, Bombardier 2nd Lieutenant Kenneth Dudley lines up the Sperry bomb site and successfully releases their bombs. All of a sudden, chaos erupts. A Flak 88 round lands square on the nose of Mizpah. The nose explodes, vaporizing the Bombardier and the navigator, whilst covering the front of the fortress in blood. The nose peels off above the aircraft, and shrapnel from the cockpit ricochets throughout the cabin, piercing wing gunner Sergeant Wesley Tucker in the chest. The inside temperature plummets to a freezing -30 degrees. Due to the extreme damage, the center of gravity shifts to the tail, causing the fortress to pitch up into a vertical. They were mere seconds away from stalling out and entering a death spiral. Astonishingly, First Lieutenant Ewald Swanson, despite no longer having a cockpit, regains control of the battered B-17 and re-enters the formation. The crew...
How does he have control? If there is no cockpit, how did he regain control? Man, this whole thing about... Let's just imagine that in today's world, people have with satellites, with drones, with precision technology, militaries don't assume they are going to get bombarded. Like, they have these surgical operations, like how US did with Iran, with B-2s and things. But that time, they knew, like, we are going to, with 60 flying fortresses, we're going to get bombarded left and right. It's going to be damaging. But that is life. We have to do, that is the operation. Just knowing that going, it's like walking in front of a gunfire, which also they did in like no man's lands and shit like that in World War I, World War II. That whole like mindset is just insane when you process it.
Crew of a nearby B-17, nicknamed Yvonne, couldn't believe what they were seeing. A blood-soaked B-17 without a nose pulls up alongside them in one of the most haunting sights of the war.
Damn.
Mizpah was strangely flying as if nothing had happened. What was happening inside the B-17 was even more impressive. Since there was no cockpit or control column left to maneuver the aircraft, under the screaming command of pilot Swanson, the crew had begun to fly the aircraft by pulling the exposed control cables by hand. Despite having lost a significant part of the aircraft, this flying fortress and its injured crew refused to go down, a symbol of unwavering courage and indomitable machine spirit. However, over 200 Flak 88 guns still had their sights set on the formation. Suddenly, another explosion rattles the B-17. A flak barrage destroys their number 2 engine as the fortress begins to lose power and airspeed. With the nose blown off and an engine gone.
Okay, I'm like, how the fuck are they controlling the cockpit? They're literally controlling the hydraulics and things, whatever exposed thing that is. They're literally pulling at that just to control the plane without controls. Because they don't have the front part of the plane anymore. It's blown up. This shit was pulling besides another flying fortress. People look at that like it's just completely blown up. That image, that shit is insane, man. Imagine seeing that and actually you're like, holy shit, how is that even happening? Is Flying Fortress one of the great made planes ever? Because I remember like somebody saying like this technology behind it at the time, and even today when you think about it, it's like really good. It was revolutionary in a lot of ways.
Mizpah and her crew, through sheer determination and will, kept the aircraft airborne. However, the effects of drag from all the damage received was increasing by the second. Mizpah had fallen far behind the formation by now. For a perilous 10 minutes, the crew battled the control cables to get as far away from the hornet's nest as possible. Now, over Dunaveks, Hungary, pilot Ewald Swanson informed his crew to immediately bail out whilst he held it steady. 7 crew members successfully bailed out of the aircraft. Swanson could no longer.
Holy shit, there was 7 people inside. More than 7, I'm guessing, like some. Oh my god. I mean, it's a bomber, makes sense. It's a big plane, but imagine, oh, there are 7 or more than 7 people inside with the nose blown off, and they're controlling the plane with some mechanism. Like, oh my god.
Tame the crippled fortress on his own. Immediately, the B-17 pitches up, trapping Swanson inside the fuselage. He grabs the parachute and keeps it close to him, waiting for the B-17 to stall out. As the fortress comes to a standstill, Swanson takes the opportunity to jump out of the front, but just as he does, his chute catches the torn metal of the cockpit, ripping through the fabric with brutal force. This was a.
Wait a minute, why is he jumping out from front though? Wouldn't that be like jumping out like where you throw bombs from? Couldn't he jump out from there? Why did he try to jump out from front?
Blessing in disguise, however, as if the fabric hadn't torn, he would have gone down with the ship, pinned by centrifugal forces. Swanson is violently flung back, narrowly missing the tail section of the B-17. The young pilot momentarily passes out, whilst falling out the sky from 20,000 feet. When he opened his eyes, he was seconds away from hitting the ground. First Lieutenant Ewald Swanson immediately opens his parachute, but notices that it had sustained significant damage. The chute was not slowing him down enough for a safe landing. The landing was.
Oh shit. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna fucking hurt. Like, that's a big chunk missing there. Oh.
Was going to be brutal, one that he was unlikely to walk away from or even survive. By sheer luck, on the way down, he spots what he believed to be an enemy POW camp in the middle of a dense forest. Swanson positions himself on top of the trees by the camp, hoping it would break his fall. Several seconds later, he crashes into the dense treetop. First Lieutenant Swanson suffers a broken left leg alongside deep tissue cuts from the tree branches. Against all odds, he survives the landing. The German medics of the POW camp quickly spot Swanson's body in the brush and recover him. They administer life-saving first aid to the young pilot, who has at this point stared death in the face and kept going. In fact, to his.
How did this video is about to end by, oh, Nazis save him? German POW camp saved him. Like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, there is that. But like, yeah, that's some. Talking about luck, but is that a luck? Like, if you constantly like survive this, is it a luck, or you're just like your senses are so heightened, you're making the right decision left and right?
His amazement, he finds out that the entire crew of his B-17 had survived. His crew were captured nearby, only to meet up at the same camp their pilot had somehow ended up at. A happy accident, as they put it. The crew would endure 9 long months through the harsh cold winter at the POW camp. On the 30th of April 1945, US troops would liberate the crew of Mizpah. The war for these young men had finally come to an end. the 8 survivors would return home to the USA that night. Ewald Swanson's bravery that day would earn him the prestigious rank of Lieutenant Colonel before his retirement from the United States Air Force. After the war, he returned to a quieter life, marrying his beloved Katherine Swanson and raising a son together at Michigan, USA. Yet, it was the bond with his B-17 crewmates that remained closest to his heart. In the decades that followed, they would often reunite, old warriors with weathered hands and bright eyes, sharing stories of impossible missions and the unbreakable brotherhood they forged when they were barely more than kids. Swanson would pass away peacefully on the 28th of February 2009 at the age of 89, remembered not only.
You know what was insane? That people who actually survived World War II, you constantly hear about like they live to 90 plus. It's like if you live through this shit and somehow survive, you're gonna survive life. Like shit's not gonna get at you because you already went through the worst shit there is. Or maybe your body is that way. Like if you went through heavy shit, you're just like your body is that way active. Maybe you won't catch basic diseases that takes out a lot of people. Because you hear about that all the time, like some, like people who survive World War II, they'll live out to 90 or shit. With all those traumas and all those damages somehow.
Only as a war hero, but as the only known pilot to have ever flown an aircraft without a cockpit. Only Mizpah and the men who dared to ride her into hell and back could ever truly understand what that meant. Only 4.2% of the viewers watching this.
Damn, that's a big number. Like, yeah, that's an insane number. I don't think any channel has that kind of number. Like, what? This is not even a new channel, I'm guessing. It's 200,000 subscribers. Like, usually it's like 1090 or even like 2080. 4% only subscribe. I'm gonna subscribe. Yeah, subscribe. Alright. This shit is next level. I didn't see this coming. Somebody commented me, you need to watch this video. And I'm like, alright, like, always down for some like tech videos about some plane. It turned out to be more than just a tech video. It's about people. I'm surprised Fatrition didn't make a video about this. Maybe he will one day. But yeah, this like they literally pulled the lever mechanism, whatever that was exposed, because the entire cockpit is missing, and somehow survived. Somehow made sure that nose dives and doesn't just suddenly pull up. Basically, going to the place where engine stalls, it goes into. It was in minus degrees. How did they survive? You know that people survive at minus degree, but they are in the minus degree. You don't go from like normal to minus sudden jump and survive. Temperature change is what gets most humans. This is how you get hypothermia and shit. Like you don't have that kind of like a temperature change. They survive that shit. All of them survive. That is insane. I need to watch some B-17 video because like I remember like somebody talking about like how it was insane. Like it has pressurized cabin. Like it was revolutionary in many ways. Like it was the first plane to do a lot of things. And apparently like yeah, it survived all these people, right? That's insane. Alright, well, this was a channel FlakAlley. Check out the original video page link from there. Support this channel. And yeah, I'll see you next time.